How are you today? It's Melissa with Hang In There. I'm grateful to all of you listening right now. Thank you for helping us spread our message. To those of you feeling hopeless today, we extend hope. To anyone feeling alone or trapped, we bring togetherness. To those feeling afraid today, we hope that you find the strength that is already inside of you. To everyone who has escaped, you are inspirational, and may you heal. To all who have been abused or are currently living through it, along with everyone who has been affected by abuse, we fight for you, and we understand. You are not alone anymore. I never felt safe enough to leave. Let me clarify. I never felt like I had enough proof. I'm honestly not sure what amount of proof would have made me feel safe enough to leave and never go back. But I can say that I felt the evidence I did have wouldn't have been recognized by the system. There were no bruises. I called numerous lawyers using the Yellow Pages in the early 2000s, from the time my son was 2. I was divorced when he was 18, if that puts time into perspective for you. I called many lawyers off and on for 15 years. I would explain what was happening to us behind closed doors and ask them to help me, to tell me I could leave and protect my kids from abuse, to give me a guarantee. Of course, no one could. All I heard for 15 years was that I would be sharing custody half of the time. That meant I would be missing half of my baby's childhood. And I didn't feel that they would be safe with their father without me being there to protect them. I knew that I couldn't afford a lawyer, and I was certain I didn't have the ability or the money to fight him in court. We had one joint bank account, so I didn't have my own money. Nothing could be paid for in secret. I was told to document everything, so I did. I hid my records in strange places where I prayed he wouldn't find them. I was super anxious having them in the house, knowing that if he found my diary of dates, times, and events, how angry he would be. If the law cannot make a person feel safe enough to leave, then what are people living in abusive situations supposed to do? I was extremely worried about not having the kids, about him having them alone for half of their lives. I couldn't risk it. I imagined the kids, who were very young in the beginning, and all I could see were their little faces in front of me as they witnessed things or as events happened to them. And I could not leave them alone. I couldn't stomach it. So I waited. And I kept calling lawyers off and on for 15 years. I kept documenting. I left 4 times temporarily with my kids and my animals. I could only take so much. The first time I left, I cannot remember exactly what the reason was, but I had my parents come over during the workday and help me pack up. That way he wouldn't be at home. I was scared and also kind of excited to be standing up for myself. I remember packing my car up, filling it. And in that moment, I didn't think of what the long-term plan was. I just knew I couldn't stay there any longer. I had had enough. Honestly, I don't remember exactly what I had in mind the very first time I left. It was a long time ago. But I can say that I think it gave me hope. I had support from my family at that time. I was still talking to them pretty regularly, and they wanted to help me. I left 4 times over a period of 10 years, and during that time I did not own a cell phone. So communication couldn't be as constant. I couldn't receive text messages, and if he needed to talk to me, he had to call the location where I was staying. He would have to call the home phone. And looking back, that way was far easier than when I had a cell phone. So I would talk when I needed to. It was very hard to navigate communication. I knew I couldn't just take the kids and not say where I was. That was against the law. Unless police were involved or I was in a shelter, I had to tell him where his children were. As I stayed, at night when the kids were asleep, I'd get phone calls or I'd have to return them. At the very least, just to tell him how the kids were. I was very afraid that I was going to get in trouble with the police for taking the kids. Now, this was the first time I had left. Everything he was saying was new. It seemed genuine. Finding I had left had made him angry at first, as predicted. But as we talked, he began to show what I thought was genuine remorse. I was hearing what I had wanted, apologies. It seemed as if that person I had dated years ago had come back. As days went on, he had me listening, considering going back home. He had me believing him. I truly believed he was sorry. I believed things would be better and different. I really trusted. I wanted to go home. I wanted to be happy and safe. I was just wondering if I would ever find that person I dated again. I was so confused. I think I was hopeful. I think I figured at the very least, if I went back, maybe had learned a lesson. Maybe he'd stop doing hurtful things and stop saying terrible things. Maybe he was being truthful. I had to examine my options. I had 2 kids, no college education. I had no money of my own. I felt a very legitimate fear of only being with my kids half of the time. And I was afraid I would lose even more time with him because I couldn't afford my own lawyer, and I knew he could. So I concluded I needed to give it another try. For my kids, for the sake of being in a marriage, I had made a commitment. Maybe things really would change, and I could keep my life as it was, and my kids in their home, with both parents. So I ignored my feelings of hesitation and went back after about a week. I don't remember how long it took before my hope was shattered and my trust was broken. I do remember that the abuse paused for a bit, and I remember when love bombing came crashing in. For those of you who don't know what love bombing is, it's a very manipulative tactic abusers use to completely overwhelm a person or children with attention, luxurious gifts, and affection. This is meant to feel amazing to the victims, but it's really designed to gain control, to build dependency and blur boundaries. Examples of love bombing look like flooding a person with flowers, calling and texting obsessively, and that can look like love, especially if you're just going back. But this is commonly more about monitoring and control. Another common tactic abusers use is rushing intimacy, saying things such as, let's move in together, or let's get married, or let's have a baby. They may talk a lot about being your soulmate, or how fate stepped in and changed them. They may say things such as, I'm nothing without you, or if you leave, I will hurt myself. They can turn the tables quickly and make your head spin by saying things like, I only get angry because I care so much, or I'm just so passionate. Love bombing is very effective because it feels like love if a person cannot identify it for what it is. I didn't know the term until I was in therapy for PTSD 2 years ago. It felt as though I lived this for 20 years and I never had a name for it. Love bombing is genius because it builds both hope and confusion at the same time. It creates dependency by nature, and then the abuser is all set up to devalue, criticize, and isolate the victim further. So, it's crushing when you go back and realize promises weren't genuine. Apologies just felt like words. And after that, the cycle starts again. Now, we are smart people. There's very good reason behind our hesitancy to leave. This is nothing to be ashamed of and nothing to be embarrassed about. We are or were surviving. We have to be careful. Statistically, the most dangerous time for a victim is when they try and leave, especially if he or she has left and come back before. Separation doesn't end abuse, it escalates it. The abuser feels like they're losing control. Remember this, 75% of domestic violence-related homicides occur when the victim is trying to leave or has just left. So please, be kind to yourself. You're doing the best you can. Only you know when it's time to escape. Only you can determine when it's safest. I really want to make this clear to everyone. I'm supporting a strategic and safe escape if there is time. If you are in immediate danger in any way at all, you need to leave as soon as possible. Please call 911. Get help. This is also important. In victims, you already know this, but to anyone witnessing this very scary, sad, and repetitive process where someone you love or care about leaves and then goes back to their abuser, I promise you it is not because he or she is okay with the abuse. I promise it is simply a process of surviving the very best they know how to in that moment. Do not judge. This is extremely tricky and confusing. Victims need support. Family members, close friends, coworkers, please do not be judgmental. You could say something such as, "I'm here for you no matter what." Or explaining that they'll never lose you, and that even if they go back, you know they need to be ready and feel safe before leaving. That you are available at any moment when they should choose to leave. Let's imagine a victim went to her sister's house with her kids to escape. And after a week, she decided to go back to her relationship with the person who abused her. She had her reasons. We aren't judging, even though we don't agree. The sister and the victim's relationship with her sister is now jeopardized. This really is so painful because her sister was only trying to help. But now the abuser sees her sister as a large threat to their control. If the victim has support, strong support, such as a family member, that victim is harder to manipulate, and the abuser knows it. The abuser may try to make the victim turn against her family by creating conflict. He or she may say things such as, "Now your sister hates me because she knows our issues. She will always try to break us up or get you to leave me." The abuser may also reinforce a worry that most victims already have by stating, "Your family is always judging you. You don't need them." The abuser may guilt trip the victim or create an issue right before a family occasion or right after one, so that future visits are not worth going to. The abuser may try and control a victim's time by constantly texting or calling when they're out with others. They may try to make them feel guilty for going out by saying something like, "I thought we were going to spend the day together." It's common for abusers to isolate the victim. The abuser may try to move them far away from family or friends, or control their car, phone, or finances so they can't leave or communicate freely. What does this look like over time? Over time, typically the victim stops calling or texting family or friends. When they do see them, it's common that they're distant when they interact. Victims may even start defending the abuser's behavior, or making excuses like, "We're just busy," or "Things are better now, don't worry." This can be so incredibly frustrating for family and friends. Please remember, they are surviving. They are most likely very confused and scared and maybe stuck, quite literally. How can we communicate safely with victims then? We can try to talk more to them in person. We can check in regularly, just thinking of you or just checking in. You could think up code words or phrases for danger or needing help. Please assume their activities are being monitored. Their phones, their car. Think about this. If a person doesn't leave the house during the day to go to work, their days could be completely monitored. Cameras designed for indoors and typically used for security reasons show live activity and audio. So a phone conversation may be heard and seen at any time, along with anything else that person is doing. Cameras designed for outdoors are also very easily bought and used for security reasons, but also show live activity and audio. So again, a person in this situation has no privacy. They may not even have any knowledge of where some of these cameras are placed. Outdoor cameras will also alert a person of any visitors coming to the home if they're placed strategically. So how is a person supposed to leave the house safely if they're being watched all the time? What can we do about this? This is a major concern. We need to help people in this situation right now. Cell phones can be monitored. Computers can be monitored. TVs have a search history now where a person can't even watch certain shows without others knowing. Now, in a normal, healthy living situation, the information showing a person's TV, cell phone, or computer history really doesn't matter. In a normal home where there's no abuse, cameras really are meant for safety and security. In an abusive home or situation, these are very large roadblocks to a person escaping safely. Now more than ever, safety planning is of utmost importance if you have time. But you need to be strategic. Get support from your local shelters. Many of them offer advocates who will help with advice about safety and the law. Many shelters also have trained counselors who can help design a safe way out and can talk you through it. But again, we have to find safe access to our shelters and all of the services that they provide. Be sure to secure your documents, birth certificates, your records of abuse, anything important. If you can hide an emergency bag, do it. If you have a trusted family member or friend who can make one for you and keep it, that would be a super idea. Set up a safe time to go when your abuser is gone. And remember, you may have to leave quickly. If you have a therapist already, keep going to therapy. My therapist was such a valuable gift to me during that time. If you don't have a therapist, get one. You need all the support you can get. But be careful. Right now, I would like to stop and breathe. I want to say out loud that we are all safe in this moment. We are all brave and strong, and we are not alone. Just breathe with me. Please know that abuse is about taking control, not losing it. Abusers choose to abuse, and they often do so when there are no witnesses. If today's episode brought up any strong emotions for you, I hope you will be gentle with yourself. You are not alone. My goal is that you will find support here, and I really hope you can find some healing here as well. We are choosing to cover very bold topics, to have very serious and vulnerable conversations that are not easy, because we have to help each other. We need to figure out ways to protect each other, our children, our loved ones, many of which are unfortunately feeling safer staying with their abusers than if they were to leave. This episode is a perfect reminder that it is so important to become educated on how to help. Even if you are not the one being abused, odds are that you know someone who either is currently being abused or who has been. Remember, 1 in 4 women alone have experienced or are experiencing being in an abusive relationship. It is important for family members, friends, and coworkers to know how to help and not judge. We can all learn something from listening today. We need all the help we can get here to spread the strength and get noticed. We need to make a difference, and we can. We can make changes happen. Please subscribe. It's time to use our voice, or nothing will change. We are losing loved ones. They are hurting our children. Please help me. Your support helps us to continue these important conversations. As always, resources will be listed on hanginthere.net and Instagram. Please feel free to leave a review or comment. Let's build a network here. I would also like to mention again the web address for the National Domestic Violence Hotline. It is just thehotline.org. They have a really great website. They have a chat box. They have a phone number you can call, 1-800-799-7233. Again, that is 1-800-799, and then the word safe. Thank you so much for being here and spending your time with me. I want you to know that I'm so proud to be here doing this podcast. I'm so proud to be a part of this community of fighters, survivors, and people looking to help. It takes incredible strength to live through abuse, witness it, love someone through it. But it takes even more strength to speak about it, to face it, and stand up to it in a world that often asks you to stay silent. Whether you have lived it, supported someone through it, or are just beginning to understand it, your presence here matters. So thank you. To all of you, hang in there, because sometimes that's all we can do.